we're going to be reading from page 36 to 39 of this book, which is called Lessons from a Lighthouse by Emma Carroll. Really good book if you want to read that. Okay, top of page 36. The second his back was turned, the girl and her friends swapped labels. So Esther became Dorothy, and Dorothy, whoever she was, became Mabel, until the whole group was giggling. It was quite funny, really, except I was too on edge to laugh. Eventually, the billeting officer in her green army jacket and skirt reached us. Names, please, she said, checking her extremely long list. Olive and Cliff Bradshaw, staying with Queenie Pickering, Mum replied. Budmouth Point, that'll be Coach D, the woman said then to us. Make sure you sit in the right coach, please. Mr. Barrowman's going with you. When you get there, he'll be teaching you in the village school. Isn't that nice? I nodded, already anxious that I'd forgotten something she'd said. Cliff was gazing about him with eyes on stalks, so I knew he hadn't even been listening. Look lively, Olive, Mum said, jolting me from my thoughts. Put your name on the label. She dug a pencil out of her bag and I had to write my name, date of birth and home address. It was a brown card label with string attached, which I went to tie on my suitcase. No, Mum stopped me. It's got to go on you. Right above our heads, a loudspeaker sprang into life. Platform 12 for 9:15 a.m. service to Penzance. Platform 12, the train is ready for boarding. I had a feeling of wild terror that I wasn't ready. It was happening too fast. I wanted a bit longer to say our goodbyes, for it might be months or more before we saw Mum again. Now listen, darling, she said to me. You ought to look after your brother, all right? I wasn't sure I was capable of even looking after myself, but I nodded wretchedly. I'll try my best. You'll be fine. You'll be together. She forced a smile. It made me sad to think we were leaving her on her own, but her job was here in London. She had to work to pay bills, so we'd still have a nice home to come back to when these awful air raids were over. The buzz of noise was becoming urgent. Children moved quickly now. Teachers were shouting. I pressed a hand to my stomach, feeling it churn with last-minute nerves. Mum and me both spoke at once. That's your train. We'd better go. I hugged Gloria, who gave me a bag of toffees for the journey. I thanked her, then put my arms around Mum. Just a minute, let me check you both, she said, pulling away. Taking out her hanky, she licked it, then wiped Cliff's cheek, which he hated. Then she smoothed my fringe, even though it was already clipped aside. That's better. You're tidy at least. I didn't want to look at her, but she took hold of my chin and gazed deep into my face. It was like she was trying to remember me, even though I was still there. Look after your brother. There's a good girl, Mum said again, sounding like she had a cold coming. Write to me, won't you? I nodded. Any news of Suki? Of course, Mum replied hastily, but try to put it from your mind, darling. Gloria, I noticed, was biting her lip. It left lipstick smears on her teeth. Like they'd done at home in our kitchen, her and Mum shared one of those loaded, grown-up looks. What it was all about, I didn't know, nor was there time to ask. Our train was being called again, and Cliff was hanging impatiently off my arm. Go on then, Mum said, giving me a gentle push. Stick together, you'll be all right. I took a big breath, like I was standing on the edge of a wall trying to find the courage to jump. Come on, I said to Cliff, taking his hand properly. As soon as we started moving, the crowds that surrounded us buffeted us towards the train. When I looked over my shoulder, Mum and Gloria had gone. Most of the train doors were closed by now, though heads and arms still hung out of windows. The guards strolling up and down the platform were telling everyone to take their seats. Coach D was divided into 3 compartments. Each one was full, smelling of heaters on too high and damp, dusty clothes. Cliff looked like he might cry with disappointment. I wanted to sit by the window. I gave him a toffee and told him not to worry, though I didn't honestly think he would get a seat at all. Making our way down the train, we stepped over sprawled legs and enormous pairs of feet. There were older kids than us, in the uniforms of at least 2 or 3 different schools, who looked bored already, and the journey hadn't even started. After searching the entire length of the carriage, we'd still not found a seat. One more sentence. So putting our cases down flat, I told Cliff to perch on top of them. I'd be all right, leaning against the wall. Okay, some quick fire questions. So these questions are just what you can remember, literally from what we've just read. So, which platform?
12.
Brilliant. What time were they leaving?
9:15 a.m.
9:15 a.m. Where did the mother live?
London.
Yeah. What left smears on her mother's teeth? Lipstick, well done. How is Coach D described?
Radiators with smelly clothes.
Yep, so smelling of heaters on too high and damp, dusty clothes. Any other words to describe Coach D?
It was split into compartments.
It was
Split into
split into 3 compartments. Anything else?
big compartments.
Big compartments. Was it busy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really crowded. At the end of that bit we just read, he stepped over sprawled legs and enormous feet. And also, they couldn't get a seat, could they? So that tells you that it was really busy in there as well. Brilliant job.